Two, go.
Hey everybody, it's Steve with Plastic Adventures, joined by Doug. And on this episode of the Toy Mill, we are going to be doing kind of a catch-all and catch-up. For the last 6 weeks, we've been absent. So the Toy Mill is obviously part of our new format that we're doing. It is all things toys. It's whatever news and sightings that we come up with since the last podcast. So in the vein of not giving you 6 hours of toy news, we've kind of pared it down to some interesting subjects. So why don't we just kick it off there, Doug?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So first thing that I wanted to talk about, we'll just open up with the big one that I think is generating a lot of buzz on the internet, and that's Red Gullwing.
Yes.
That's Red Gullwing. Never heard of Red Gullwing. Well, there's a toy producer called Ramen Toys, and their whole deal is doing knockoffs of 80s toys and sort of updating the technology. So Red Gullwing is actually a modern redo, almost in the exact same scale as the original Mask Thunderhawk. And it comes with a matte tracker figure, which is highly articulated and has a little bit of updated deco. But I mean, at first look, when you look at this toy, it's Thunderhawk from 1986.
Yeah.
And you start getting into the details of it, and the interior has more detail, and the figure stays seat belted in, and there's more little painted details. I mean, we have maybe even used this term ad nauseum, but retro done right.
Yeah.
And of the things that Ramen is doing, man, this is about the most right thing that they have ever come up with.
Yeah, when I saw pictures of it, it was pretty exciting. So like some of the angles and some of the coloring choices that they did and some of their, their sculpting, looks like it came right out of the cartoon. Like they took, there was always a difference between the toy and the cartoon, always. But this one really seemed to kind of blend the two, the toy function of it, but taking a lot of its inspiration from the colors and some of the angles that the cartoon had.
Yeah, and it's so seamless. I mean, it feels like both when you look at it.
Yeah, and it's a great idea. I mean, Mask is one of those toys that I think is overdue for a resurgence. We got a lot of 80s callbacks in toys lately, and actually right now is a great time to be an 80s toy collector.
Oh, yeah.
For everything from Star Wars to G.I. Joe to Transformers and Masters of the Universe, everything and everything in between has seen a retro resurgence. And Mask is just one of those that is just waiting in the wings, and just when is its turn? And so to see this one done, even though it's a third party, it's one enough to get people's juices going again for Mask.
Yeah. And you know what I enjoy about Hasbro is they don't really unleash the hounds on a lot of this third-party stuff, these one-offs, unless they're doing a direct, absolute knockoff of an existing toy. Hasbro's been pretty cool about a lot of the third-party Transformers. Yep. There was like one token toy bust that they did in China where they seized a bunch of the, third-party stuff and reissued. But other than that, they've been really cool.
Well, I mean, if I try to look at it from Hasbro's perspective, they can't get to every toy line that everybody wants. So if these third-party guys are kind of keeping people's palates wet a little bit until Hasbro can get to them, then it's keeping the line alive for them, basically, without them having to foot the bill for it.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, those Mask toys, they're such a heavily gimmicked vehicle. When you think about all of the unique tooling that would be required to launch that line again, I mean, we're talking like new cartoon show or major motion picture support.
Totally.
To get it going. I mean, it would just have to be. Now the price tag, you're looking at about $120.
It is pricey.
And I called that one at the very beginning when I saw these. But
imagine what that would look like on a Mask collector's shelf.
I mean, if
being
Mask,
a Mask collector.
Yeah, if Mask is your number one, this is like a masterpiece Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, you got people out there dropping $400 on Masterpiece Optimus Prime official Takara product.
Wow.
120 doesn't seem too much for a masterpiece level like Mask Thunderhawk. Such an iconic toy.
I mean, I did not jump on it, but it is something that I'm happy that they're doing. It's not something that I'm against by any means. So I'm wondering if we'll see these come out and hit the aftermarket after the third party guys have had their run, and if we'll see a jump in price on these for the once it goes in its second round.
You know, that's interesting that you bring that up, because it's not always third parties that see these big price spikes. But given what it is, I think that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're being made to order, and that they're maybe going to hold a certain amount of stock to, you know, to dump after the, you know, after the pre-orders are fulfilled. But I'm with you there. I think this is one that, you know, you're buying for 129 and you're selling it for 225 or 250 about a month after these things hit, and, you know, no one can get them.
Yep, that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, some of them will go to true collectors, I think. A good majority of them. But I think some of them
buying it, but
yeah, but I think some of them are going to, you know, those people who buy toys and turn them around. I mean, that's what I think. So we'll see. I'm glad it's out there, though. Like I said, it keeps the line alive.
Yeah, it's one of the coolest updates. Like, I think these guys are the ones that did the Centurions.
Yeah, they were the
like
three
5 or 6 inch scale, so they were kind of small, like undersized. They look good. They did Silverhawks too, I think, and that was a really expensive. It was like $80 for one like 5 inch scale figure or something. That's rough, man.
I mean, it's like what Super 7 did with their Silverhawks. I mean, those the guys were not cheap either when they had their
yeah. I think everything from those guys right now in those 6 inch scale figures is like
$75,
$54.99, and then like $175 shipping to get them.
Sounds like eBay shipping prices.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. What else we got for news?
How about Mattel finally making a terrific decision with their what do they call their website? Is it Matty Creative or something like that?
Something like that. Mattel Creations.
Mattel Creations sucked so hard the first couple of offerings that came out. I mean, anybody who thought they had it bad with Digital River and the original Masters of the Universe Classics, I mean, this shit would get on there and sell out in like 30 seconds, and then you never had a chance. Yeah. And you'd go onto your Facebook group, and here's your butthole scalper with 9 of them he managed to get. And he's helping the community out on a $20 figure for like $65 a pop.
Keep your
in a supreme act of benevolence, obviously. And I mean, it was release after release we saw this with, and it got fragged. And, you know, I wanted to get one of those Wondars. I made one that looks just fine, but I wanted to get one. You got one.
And I tried to get 2, remember? But something happened. It changed my quantity from 2 to 1 when I checked out.
Yeah, people were waiting in the queue for 15 minutes. You know, like the clock struck 12:01 and they had their cart for checkout. They're waiting in the queue, and Dickweed Scalper gets 20 of them, and then regular collector guy wanting 1 in package and 1 out gets 1.
Yeah.
So it was a complete disaster. And Mattel, I think, finally had to bend a little bit, because now you've got both Grizzlor going up for pre-order again this Saturday. And I want to say Wondar is the 25th or 26th.
Yeah, he's not too far behind. But, you know, Mattel is finally doing something right by the collector. You know, and what I mean by doing right, I mean, it's not just offering what they have as far as a franchise, but finally making it available to everybody and not be so damn hard to get their hands on.
Yeah, so, and what a paradox too, because Masterverse, all that stuff, everybody gets a fair shot to pre-order those, you know, with like Big Bad Toy Store or Entertainment Earth, or, you know, you find them out in the wild or at your hobby store. And they're just killing. They're like destroying with those figures. They're amazing.
Yeah.
But the super awesome collector thing offered to collectors through their collector website, I mean, that would be like Hasbro putting up HasLab projects with a pre-order really quick and then like closing it off to the fans. Seriously.
Hasbro's, some HasLabs have been but yeah, I get what you're saying. But what I mean is that they're finally having the collector, the true collector in mind, right? Not the scalper, not the Uber Masters of the Universe collector, everything like that, but like the guys like you and me who are like, I just want 1. Can I just have 1? right? And so to be able to have another chance to go out and get Wondar, I didn't get a chance to get Grizzlor, and I really want him because I'm trying to complete that Horde set, and you know, for a while just couldn't get him unless you got him through the exclusive. He was not available to you.
Well, keep your eyeballs peeled because they're only going on for 48 hours. And because they're made to order, it's going to be delayed past the initial shipment, you know, when these ones are first coming. But I mean, the security of knowing that you're going to have one, you know, when Hasbro's classified Sergeant Slaughter sold out super quick, Hasbro in a few days got back up and made pre-order quantities available. And so did, you know, Big Bad Toy Store. So they knew how to circle the wagons and fix that. I think Mattel finally got enough kickback, but you know, good on them.
Well, at least they're listening, right? At least our voices can be heard now, and they're actually listening to us.
Yeah, I mean, when this business is being held captive by scalpers, the joy is gone. It was really nice for Mattel to go ahead and do that.
Yep. And I'm you know, as soon as it opens, I'm buying a Grizzly.
Hey, I don't know if I'll get a Wondar. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, but
come on. I mean, how could you pass that up? He's beautiful. He's beautiful.
I know. I painted one to look like it. I have an original, but I don't have that one. So maybe that's a problem for me. We were discussing off air. This is sort of like hot off the presses. We've got Super 7 has done all these little reaction transformers, and yeah, some of them look okay. They're, you know, 5 POA. I bought the Optimus Prime, but they're doing a 6-inch deluxe figure, deluxe, still featuring 5 points of articulation, and it's Unicron, but it is not cool looking Unicron from the movie. It's a 6-inch scale crappy figure based on a super crappy prototype from the 80s of Unicron.
Concept Unicron.
He's like this god-awful yellow and blue bulbous body. I said he looked like a Christmas ornament with arms and legs.
You're hanging from your tree.
I mean, you've seen the original prototype, right?
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Brightly colored yellow plastic Unicron, and he's got the stupid pull-out arms, and they're like really long, and he's got the spindly legs, and then, you know, he's like Grandpa.
It's not a great design, Steve.
Oh no, it's like Hasbro. How do you design the biggest transformer ever with the fewest transformation steps? And that's what you come up with. So anybody who wanted to have an homage to that original prototype,
now's your chance, I guess.
They're doing a 6-inch Grimlock that's done in blue, like the G2 colors.
Oh, okay.
And I think accompanying that Grimlock will be the 6-inch Grandpa Bellycron, crappy Christmas ornament Unicron figure. And I'm sure that they'll be priced at like $34.99 because they're an inch taller than the other $20 figures. But
I can safely say that I'm probably not going to get that one.
That's an easy pass for me.
Yeah.
Sticking with Transformers, though, as you shared in Plastic Bits, your Wild Rider figure, that whole wave is starting to hit the hobby stores. So I was at a local Docking Bay 93, which is a really cool little chain of comic and hobby stores up here in the very, very northest, westest Washington. And I went in there and for the first time saw the new Metroplex, which is a stinker. But they also had.
Well, he's based off of the which one? It not Power of the Primes. Is it Power of the Primes or is it Titan?
It's Cybertron, I think, is the line he came out of.
He's based off of a previous release. He's not a new mold by any means.
And it has added some parts. They added some parts in there to make him bigger. But I mean, that was. They can't all be winners, and this one certainly wasn't one for me. He transformed into like a giant crane, for God's sake.
I don't know what he was.
Metroplex. Buildings.
A city.
Metropolitan.
Yeah.
You know what? I found love a backhoe.
What? Give me a big drill. Give me a big, oh geez, whatever. Saw. But no, the Wild Rider I found was at one of our local stores here in the Tri-Cities, Adventures Underground, which is not normally a spot that I equate to having Transformers, right? They do a lot of Gundam, they do a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, they do a lot of Super 7,
Yeah.
mostly comic books and tabletop playing games and old books, not normally Transformers. And so when I walked in and saw these guys, I'm like, hold on, wait a second, this is new. And they did have one of those Metroplexes. They had the RC, they had the Elita One.
Yeah.
They had Wild Rider, which I grabbed because I need to. But they also had Blitzwing, and that one hurt. Like, you ever have something on the shelf, like when you were a kid and your mom's like, you can only choose one. And you're like, that's what I felt like when I saw Blitzwing. I was like, God, but I went with Wild Rider because I got a complete Menasor. So,
well, I'm going to talk really quiet because the door's open.
Oh,
that's what credit cards are for.
No, because she still sees what's on the credit cards.
I know. We think we're so clever.
I would get home and she would know I have spent the money before I even got in the door.
Can smell that.
What'd you buy at Adventures Underground, Doug?
Yeah, can smell the plastic that was heated up for that like $50 Transformer. I smell credit card plastic.
So no, I opted for the more economical need of Wild Rider, which is still the better choice, I think, because when Menasor is put together, he's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Blitzwing's a cool figure. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But
if I ever come across him again, hopefully I can grab him. Because he's on the need list, but Wild Rider just took a bit more of a priority.
Yeah, makes good sense. 40th anniversary HeMan. Like, we got to see this figure a month and a half ago. This is done in the Masterverse like scale, and it's meant to look like the classic HeMan. But when the original pictures were released, I don't know if it was
all dirty looking.
Yeah, I mean, like the contrast was way up on the pictures, but there was like this horrific, like the skin tone wasn't very bronzed out like HeMan. It was really light.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just like this dark brown wash all over him and all the muscles. And it looked really bad, like you had dropped your HeMan in your coffee cup and took pictures of it. So that'll be hitting stores here imminently. I want to say that it has a September release to mass retail at last time that I checked.
Ooh.
But the deco, they've taken all of that washing off of it. They had the chance to get in before the toys were produced and hold the deco, which obviously saved them money in the long run. But it made for a much, much, much better looking toy. It looks a lot more like the classic figure now. So, for all of the Mattel creative fiascos, we get a deco change.
Yeah.
And this takes us into probably the best part of news, maybe. Sticking with Masters of the Universe.
Is the best part of the news.
Masters of the Universe movie HeMan and Skeletor were revealed.
Dolph Master Dolph. He doesn't look like Dolph.
I'm gonna say this much. There is only one angle of Dolph's of the HeMan face, and it looks a little weird to me. The rest of the toy is terrific, and Skeletor is amazing. But there's just something about that. I mean, normally I would consume this immediately, like be all over it. But I did get in on those Super 7 figures from the Roger Stout collection, and they're amazing. And even though that's not really Dolph's face, there's enough Dolph similarities on that HeMan that, it looks like a really good movie HeMan.
Yeah.
This one, I just have a curiosity. I'll need to see the figure face on before I drop another like $34.99 on a movie HeMan figure that barely looks different than the other one that I bought.
Well, I did not get one of the classics. So this guy he falls squarely in the need category for me because I don't have a movie HeMan. And that, like I said, both of those together are wonderful additions to the Masterverse. And Masterverse is like that line that we probably always wanted. right? Like Mattel is doing really good lately. And, not that Hasbro isn't, but Mattel really is kind of just everything that they're giving us is just home run after home run. And I really appreciate them trying to give us what we really want.
So would you say that what Mattel is doing with Masterverse is akin to what Hasbro is doing with Legacy and that previous trilogy, where we're getting all these G1 characters that are like hyper accurate and great looking?
Yeah.
Would you put Mattel on par with the Masterverse?
Yeah, well, the Masterverse, so when it first came out, I was skeptical. I didn't know, right? The first couple of figures, I was like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? And they decided to go the route that G.I. Joe Classified went, which let's give them all their classic guys. Let's give them all of them, right? And give them in their nice, detailed, articulated, everything. And I think that of the recent lines, which we'll talk about in our next topic, but we'll give a little bit here. G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe, Transformers, and by extension, Star Wars through the Black Series and the vintage carded stuff that they have really given the big four, which I consider the big four, a much needed facelift and reinvigoration into the line. And the Transformers specifically, right? With that, and like I said, it's the same thing with the cartoon for Masters of the Universe. Cartoon for Transformers, you can take it or leave it. If you like it, great. If you don't, that's great too. But what they really do, and what they have done for ever since they started, was sell toys. That was the point. And so from the Transformers War for Cybertron line, we got some of the best Transformers I've ever seen.
Yep.
So with Masters of the Universe, with Classified G.I. Joe, it's the same thing, right? Just the best versions of these characters that I've ever seen, closely related to or having elements of the original figure and the cartoon that we like.
And as the lines have gone down, like with Masterverse, they G.I. Joe Classified up a lot at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, we got Revelation He-Man. We've never gotten like just He-Man. We got, what is it, Gladiator He-Man?
Which is cool.
Yeah. But they have slipped in some releases that are so classic and so effing awesome and epic that it's pretty amazing. That that's a topic for another day.
Yep.
Essentially, this is what I had for the news, and that was great news with the He-Man and Skeletor coming out. Obviously, when the William Stout collection came out, you had to buy like all 4 figures before you could buy singles. So I ended up with like a full set, 2 extra He-Mans and an extra Skeletor, and I sold the full set off so that I could have my figures. But you got anything that you wanted to throw in there to
the only thing that's really kind of upcoming, which will be of interest to you, me, and all the other toy collectors out there, is PulseCon is coming on September 30th, right? So, and they've been teasing us with, hey, we're going to have some new stuff for Transformers. We're going to have some new stuff for G.I. Joe. So I'm hoping, September 30th, we should see another really, well, every time they do this, you get so excited, but then you remember, why haven't we seen the stuff that you revealed from the last PulseCon?
New O-rings. Let's get Beachhead in there. Let's get some other ones.
So my what's it called? I'm gonna make a prediction here. The O-rings, I think we're gonna get Scarlet and Baroness.
Gotta have them. Yep.
And I think the reason why is because they already got Baroness, because they released her with Megatron. But not enough people bought those. And so, not a lot of people were able to get them, I should say.
I think they're still available for pre-order. They're not out yet. They're working on it.
But I think they would be smart to package Baroness with Scarlet, because it kind of goes with the 2 for motif that they have: Snake Eye Storm Shadow, 2 Cobras, Duke, Cobra Commander. It makes sense. Scarlet, Baroness. That's my prediction.
Yep. I think you're onto something there. So that is a we shall see.
Yeah. But that's all I got. PulseCon on the 30th. So put it on your calendars and let's all enjoy more toys.
Rightio. That's it for this segment, guys. So, like I say all the time, if we don't hear from you, we'll see you in the toy aisle.
Yep. And as always, please comment below, like, give us a follow, and make us happy.
Oh yeah, we have social media. We're just old. Plastic Adventures community, Plastic Adventures toy community.
Yep. And me, the Toyman80s on Instagram. I'll follow and comment on anybody.
See, senor.
All right. See you guys later.